music in every link.
That's a new theme tune. Somebody composed that specially for me, and the link to the rest of his music is in the description. Now, I want to discuss two stories that appeared in the papers this week. This is the first one. Tube passengers facing arrest over assault of naked man who exposed himself in front of children. The story involves a mockery of a man who dropped his trousers on a crowded tube train. Several outraged fellow passengers, you can see them all here, told him to cover himself and pointed out that there were children on the train, thereby, I'd say, giving him fair warning. But when his only response was a couple of expletives, the passengers took it upon themselves to detain him. In, so far as I can tell from the videos that I've seen, in no more violent a way than the situation demanded. They pinned down a mentally disturbed man, and possibly they also prevented a much worse scenario from developing, at the same time as showing a lot of kids who were there what real men are. And guess what? Those public-minded heroes are now under criminal investigation for assault. Let's just contrast that with this story, which appears in the Telegraph, but no doubt in other papers as well, and in which we see a stern-faced crime commissioner steepling his fingers from the comfort of his chair, for all the world like an angry school principal taking us all to task for practising hockey chops just outside the chemistry lab and breaking not just the window but also a table full of retorts. I swear it wasn't me. There were at least 5 other girls in that playground. Oh, where was I? Yes, believe it or not, considering the previous story in which a couple of genuine champions throw themselves into protecting women and children and end up on a charge sheet, we have here the spectacle of an indignant officer ticking the public off for not preventing a shoplifter from leaving the premises, which you might expect would involve some pushing and shoving. Call me naive, but I rather suspect that the sort of person who's caught in the act of shoplifting is extremely unlikely to down tools and wait for the law to turn up if politely asked to do so by another customer or even by the shopkeeper. Well, make up your mind, man. If we do get involved, we get charged with assault and could end up with a criminal record that'll follow us for the rest of our lives. And if we don't get involved, we're a bunch of pussies and we deserve the crime that's visited upon us. It's our fault because we're not doing anything to stop it. I'm Granniopteryx. Please click like for this video. Please share it and please subscribe. Also, any financial contributions are gratefully received. All the links to the various methods are in the description. To update you on the dog and pony show that is my life right now, Donkeyopteryx has developed an abscess in his hoof, which means poultices, possibly an extra visit by the farrier, and worst case, the attentions of a vet. However, I brought this on myself, so I don't feel sorry for myself and neither should you. The best way you can help this channel grow is to like, subscribe and share, particularly share my videos. Okay, back to the increasingly irrational world of our police farce. So let's have a look at this story. This page here, Yahoo News, they reproduce the Standard and the Telegraph, and you'll see the general attitude. So there are videos online. I can't show them because YouTube will immediately demonetize this video, and as you will have gathered, that's the last thing I want right now. And this is how it's reported in the Standard. Vigilantes who took the law into their own hands when a London Underground passenger exposed himself in front of children could face arrest, according to reports. And they used the word vigilantes. Vigilantes is a negative word. It means these are rough people who aren't staying within the law, that they say taking the law into their own hands. And if you think that's bad, just take a look at this from My London. Half-naked man in mental health crisis beaten by London Underground passengers. If you take a look at the people who are restraining this half-naked man, you might notice one particular characteristic about them, which might be the reason for this sort of headline. It's an entirely negative way of looking at them. Instead of saying heroes who saved children from possibly worse, because we all know that when mentally disturbed people expose themselves, it's usually men, it's because they're testing the water and they go on to do worse things. It doesn't just stop with the exposing. So it says when challenged by commuters. So footage posted online shows a man dropping his trousers. When challenged by commuters, a fight erupts. Up to 4 men stepped in when he repeatedly refused to pull up his pants and began shouting, "F off." British Transport Police believe the naked suspect, who has since been detained under the Mental Health Act, was assaulted by them. Look, the man was not in his right mind, in any sort of right mind. Does anyone expect him to be polite about this? Well, he wasn't being polite, and so those men were reacting in kind. They weren't assaulting him. But this is the way the Standard is, this is the way the elite want the newspapers to report such an incident. So apparently there'd been no arrests, but a spokesman for the British Transport Police says the man has been assaulted by a number of other passengers, and then he was arrested by an off-duty officer before being detained. So that's the idea that the police have. This was an assault. An assault is an illegal intrusion onto somebody's person. I don't know what the legal language is, but that's what it is. And it is illegal. When the suspect swears, one commuter can be heard replying, "What do you mean, F off? You need to get off the effing train. Now, there are kids here." And then the man continued to shout and wave his belt, and before more passengers stepped in to restrain him. A fight then appeared to break out. He was seen with his hands forced behind his back before being unceremoniously thrown off the train by several men. A photograph later showed him pinned to the ground on the platform at East Ham Station, where passengers waited for help to arrive. So those passengers not only removed him from public view, specifically the view of women who would be upset by this and children who would be very badly disturbed by that. They not only removed him from that, but they carried on holding him until he was taken away by the appropriate force, by the appropriate authorities. So they lost time, they risked themselves. And now the police are talking about them assaulting this madman.
You call
And
999.
then, oh, shush. And then we've got this man here, Matthew Barber, the Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner for Thames Valley. Well, he's an idiot. Said it was wrong to think that tackling thieves was just a job for police. No, it isn't just a job for police. But why should people do it when they risk what those people on the train risked? Just listen to this guy.
Stealing from you, call 999. Also, ideally, try and stop them leaving. Don't just stand there and watch, which a lot of people do, which frustrates me. They push through.
So, yeah, just stop a shoplifter. And if the shoplifter turns violent, which that shoplifter is likely to do, you're going to have to use a certain amount of force to restrain him or her, aren't you? And that's really simple. It's easy enough to say. You sit there at your desk, you steeple your hands like this, and you tell people that they deserve it because they're not being proactive enough. Let's think what the police want us to do. On the one hand, to restrain someone. On the other hand, oh, no, don't use force, that's assault. This is altogether, it's not just the police. It's all our authorities. They don't want us to be right in any way. I am absolutely certain that if the hue of those people had been reversed, there wouldn't be any talk of assault. I'm quite sure of that. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.